Good morning. How are you guys doing today? I see a lot of accounts labeled note taker on here. If you are, I don't know if that's an AI account or whatnot, but if you could either say hi or respond in the chats, just let me. Hey, Ernest, how's it going? You might be on mute right now, Ernest, if you're trying to respond to now. Yeah, we're just kind of waiting for people to join. If you are on the call, this is just a vibe coding session, more or less. What that is just a time or a meeting kind of where everybody can hang out and work on personal projects. And then they can ask questions. They can just kind of talk about tech, more of a informal meeting space. Um, Yeah, so just again waiting for people. There are some I see note taker accounts. I don't think they are associated with people. So if you do get on the call, um, if you could write in the chat and just say hi, or just you can unmute yourself too um, and say hi too, that'd be great. Just to kind of let us know if you're in the meeting or whatnot. So again, just waiting for more people to get into the meeting. Hey, Ernest. Um, I haven't heard you write in the chat or anything yet. Just checking just to see if you're there. Looks like you're the only person in the meeting right now, so I just want to confirm that that you're there. No problem. Today's meeting was a little different than our typical tech meetups. Um, we again, this is like a vibe coding session, so this is really informal. Typically, for our tech group, we would have like a specific topic, and then we'd train on that topic. But today, again, was a vibe coding session. I just kind of on threw it out there just to see if anybody would be interested, and it was really more for uh, just to get people to come together and just work on personal projects or whatnot. So just hoping other people can join so we can have a session. But I don't know if there's not anybody else joining. This might be kind of more of a limited session. Are you tell? Would you mind telling me a little bit about yourself? Are you new to tech or kind of just getting into data analytics and things like that?
Okay, I'm not really new to tech.
Sure.
Yeah, but I just found out about this on Twitter, now
Yep.
X, and went through the chats from a certain account, and I saw it will be nice to be in a certain community to learn more and yeah, interact with more people.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
X
yeah,
is
but
a
I'm not really new to data analytics. Uh, but yeah, I've been doing it on solo, but sometimes it's hard to really know what to do. There's a lot on internet, and
yep,
it's nice to be in a community.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do you work well, I guess my question would be like what tech stack do you typically work with? Are you working with like Python, Power BI, Excel, SQL? Do you have anything you
Uh,
prefer or are focusing on right now?
uh, like most of my data analytics are related to the problems I try to solve on daily basis, but
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to working with Python and Excel. Power
Sure.
BI a little bit. I'm not really interested on visualizing the data, but I'm more diverting to doing the modeling and moving to data science.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
That-
how do you use Python for your data analytics? Do you run like um machine learning programs? Do you use it to collect data and like transform it or
yeah.
run?
Most of my individual projects, I do them on with Python, but most of the job activities I do them on Excel. But I when doing the automation of Excel, uh, doing it on Power Query and do it with macros seems to be a little bit rigid, but not that much. But doing the automating the Excel with Python codes looks more streamlined. So looks so better than doing it from the Excel point of view. You can manage
Sure.
the Excel files from Python so well than doing it on Excel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you. What are typically your data sources for your projects? Are they just collecting data and putting it into an Excel workbook for your data source, or are you using like APIs to maybe like government endpoints or different types of endpoints?
No, no. Now the problem I have is one thing I'm not really sure what exactly am I supposed to do. So whenever I see anything new, I try to jump into to really get myself doing something. So like right now, I was in a project from another community in Kenya called Everything Data, which are coming to an end. So I'm looking for something new also to start from the beginning of next month.
Oh,
So
sure.
that one was sponsored by Data Camp. So we were doing data science, and we did the project at the end of the course. So the project was really more of I did just went to Kaggle and looked for data there, and did the cleaning, did the all the EDA, and then created the model. Then created a model also on Streamlit to a bit create an interactive for anyone who wants to see what exactly the model does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that was through data camp. It sounded like that was through.
Yeah, the Data Camp was the sponsor for the course. So we had a free access to Data Camp.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your Oh,
So
go
like
ahead.
right now I just completed my university degree a year ago, and not landed really on any job. That's why I'm now focused on as much as I'm waiting to get a job. It's nice to keep myself busy and expound on my data field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you w- are you located? So you mentioned Kenya. Are you
yeah.
located in Kenya or a different area within Africa?
I'm located in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
Was your degree uh focused on data analytics or was it something else?
No, no. The problem with our degrees is they are too wide. Like I did a degree called Maths Economics with IT.
Yeah,
So, but it was more of mathematics, a little bit of economics, and a little bit of IT. So,
sure.
right now I'm trying to see what the three of them can get me to doing one thing specific, and it seems to be more of data science. Because if I go through my courses, they are more inclined to data science than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A math degree for sure especially with like statistics and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is, I think with what you said about learning Python, that's like kind of perfect where you can kind of tailor together the programs that are built into the Python libraries, but then you can also understand them and leverage your statistical, your math background on when you're telling the stories of what Python's telling you too. With my experience, I don't necessarily have a math background myself, but I'm very good at writing programs, and I do a lot of forecasting with Python for like call centers, like short-term forecasting or whatnot. And Python's really cool where you can leverage pre-built libraries that really look at like your seasonality and remove your outliers and take into account your trends and all that stuff. So the program itself really doing your forecast. So if I don't like not having a statistical background is more challenging for me to kind of tell that story. So I think just trying to let you know that you can definitely leverage that math background, kind of pair it with your Python, and then that can help you with projects in the future. So hey Glory, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
And who is Benjamin?
Yep, Benjamin's my name for sure.
So who exactly is now Benjamin? What do
Say
you
that
do?
again.
What do you like? What do you?
Yeah, so personally, I work for a company in the United States. I've been with them for about, I don't know, 17 years now. My role is a database analyst, and what that is, my primary role is ETL. So I build our data extraction transformations, and then I essentially put on the business requirements onto the data, and I manage it within a database. That's my primary role, but essentially I have a really widespread. I have other roles as well. Kind of, I do forecasting. I mentor our team on Power BI development and things like that. I think I have on the team that I currently work, I have the most experience, so I find myself helping in a lot of different areas. If there's fires that need to be fought, or like just really big issues, I typically am the one that kind of steps up and kind of looks at them. So yeah.
So let me ask this: how do we get ourselves to those positions? Because we find ourselves remaining in the same. Like, you are not a senior. You every time you feel like you fall under the entry level of data analytics, and like even if right now I apply for a job somewhere, some of the definitions I feel like I can do what the jobs require, but the person who is looking for you doesn't see anything that shows that you can do the job.
Sure. My recommendation or my thoughts kind of on that, and it might be different based in Africa versus the United States, but when I got into the job market, I got an entry level job, but it wasn't in data analytics. I was working for a call center at the same company, so it actually had nothing to do with data analytics. And that's kind of my recommendation to people is, even if you find a job or an opportunity for a company that you know that data analytics exists within that company, I would recommend taking some of those opportunities. And what those entry level jobs, even if it's not related to data analytics, you learn about the business. And that's certainly what happened for me. I was working for a call center taking calls regarding parts of the business. I did that for about 2 years. I learned tons about the business. I made a name for myself that I was a hard worker, just kind of like things like that, built up my network within the business. And then eventually opportunities opened up where I could step into just another entry level job, but on an analytical team. and I just kept progressing throughout my career. So it didn't. I think what I'm saying is you don't always have to find that amazing analytical job to start with. Even entry level jobs at a company that has data analytics could be beneficial. It's going to open doors up for you, and it's going to give you opportunity to learn the business piece of the business as well, which is actually extremely important in data analytics, because a lot of times I see IT teams that they have the analytical knowledge, but they don't have the business knowledge, and that's really hard to pair things together. Then, where you might miss something because you don't have that business knowledge. So, personally, like the team that I work on, a lot of times we're hiring our beginning analyst or a junior analyst directly from the businesses that we're supporting, because we know that they have the business knowledge. They might not necessarily have an IT background or a data analytic background, but we know that those skill sets can be kind of built up for them. And a lot of times that business knowledge is more important to us. So, yeah,
Okay.
great question. Yeah.
So, do you like the way you stated the problem with the setups of if you look at most of Kenyan companies, you're not given like if you come for an entry job, uh, it's hard to really move up the ladder as much as they can see the quality you have in you that can you are not really, it's not that easy to move to the next level of the job.
Yeah.
Someone somewhere will just come and do something that you feel like you would have done the same job, but since you came on a given job, you just remain at that job. So I was asking, now how do I guess you have remote people working from remote areas. So how do you source them? What do we have to do to really even have a chance of those remote jobs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I kind of see it as like there's probably more pathways in this, but I kind of see it as two pathways. And you kind of think of my pathway as like uh 1-to-1 or a direct linear path. So like I worked in the same company, and that company itself had opportunities to move up the ladder. It sounds like what you're saying though is your company doesn't, or companies within Kenya don't necessarily have that opportunity. So what I would probably still do myself is if getting like no matter what, in my opinion, is like getting a job is probably like the number one thing first. If bills have to be paid, things like that. So I would
Yeah.
try to get a job, but what I would maybe focus on is still try to get into a company that you can maybe understand the business part of it. So you can kind of accumulate even like, how does a call center run, or how does a financial business run? You can still, even in an entry level job, maybe not even related to data analytics or things like that, you can understand the business pieces of it. But then at the same time, I would start trying to network out to other remote jobs, maybe freelancing jobs, or just trying to get out as much as I can into other jobs. And then you can use your entry level job as maybe talking points, or you can show or prove to these other jobs that you have a business understanding of 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 whatever that is, so you can use that as a networking opportunity for sure. And that's the biggest thing, I think, is networking is such a huge piece to getting jobs, even within a business, understanding or learning who people are, sometimes growing in that business too. So once you get into any business, start networking. And if that business doesn't give you the opportunities to grow at the pace that you want to, or get those higher level jobs that are related to data analytics, then you guys start networking outside of your business and start going into remote jobs. but I think that then like you have to think about the skill sets you need to learn. So like a lot of times we focus on learning technical skill sets because that's what we in our mind are data analysts. So we need to build our analytical skill set to be seen as valuable, and and a lot of times that's what we think that how we're going to get a job is through those technical skill sets. But a skill set that is as equally as important is networking, I believe, and how to network efficiently and who to network with, because that in my mind can sometimes lead to better jobs and more opportunities, because the larger network that you have, and if that network's related to data analytics, that's going to open up opportunities too. So I think trying to break down what I said is networking is important as learning your skill sets too. So sorry, I said a lot there, Ernest. So I apologize if I didn't answer your question entirely.
Yeah, you did answer. So the last one is now it's about going back to the solo, which is the best way to really up your game on a personal level. Like, do you just stumble on anything on YouTube and try to learn? Like, how do you grow yourself in a given field?
Yeah, to me that's probably a very like people learn differently, so it's a really personal question. I think I would ask you, like, how do you like to learn? Do you like reading? Do you like YouTube? I think
No, like I love to learn on maybe more practical and maybe on supervised based, like get into something that maybe sends you a reminder to tell you you've not done this today, or work in a group where it's more personal, but really not really personal that much, but there is a reminder that or something that pushes you to give them the results to make you really work. But if you just have to open a YouTube and if you don't do it, nothing holds you accountable. Even a star doesn't hold you unaccountable. It becomes a bit hard.
Yeah, I think I agree with that for sure. I think that what you're kind of getting at with what you're saying is what's important about your learning process is consistency.
Yes.
So putting yourself in a position that you're doing it daily. And then you said real application. So like trying to find projects that are real world or make you think or make it seem like it's something that you'd get out of business. Those are the two things I think consistency is probably the first important thing, doing something on a daily level. And then the second thing is trying to get that real world experience where you can. I think online, I've been in the business world for such a long time, so I have that real world aspect of it. So I haven't searched out too much myself of like projects, but I have came across even on X where people are posting data sets that follow real world projects. So I'm guessing there's a lot of content at least to get you started with a real world project, and it's staying consistent with it. Yeah. Yeah, one thing I'll share, and it's just more to promote the value in consistency, is like 3 years ago, no, I think about 5 years ago, the team that I'm on now, we shifted. All of our reporting was in Power Pivot, so it was like the predecessor before Power BI, and we were making the shift to Power BI. So what I did myself is for about 6 months straight, every night I would read an article off of a website called SQLBI.com, which is a great website for learning DAX, which is the language behind Power BI and Power Pivot. And then I bought a book on it too. And I would just every night, and I think it was anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, I would make sure to read DAX. And after about 6 months, it clicked. I started understanding it. DAX is, in my opinion, one of the hardest languages. It's just, it can be so simple, but then there's so many different layers to it. but that consistency I saw pay off. And I would promote that to anybody, is trying to stay as consistent as you can with your skill set that you're trying to learn. And if you can stay consistent and use it, you will learn it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, everyone else, just we're just, you know, talking here about tech. And again, for the new people who have joined, I labeled this as a vibe coding session. So it's more really informal. We're not focusing on any training today. It was really talking about the projects that you're currently working on. I was kind of picturing this as a session for people to even work on projects and just ask questions to the people in the group and really just hang out with other tech-minded people. Right now we have a good conversation going, so probably just keep that going on right now. So Glory, or I might pronounce this incorrectly, Decola, if you do have any questions, or if you want to talk about anything, just let us know and we can certainly talk about anything related tech. So
Okay, good day. Can you hear me?
yep.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It's morning over here. I don't know what time is it over there. So, I don't know if I say I have a few questions, but I think I do. First of all, I'm actually a newbie in the space. I just joined late last year, so I'm not I'm not out there on the job search yet, but I still put myself out there once in a while, just like you said, networking and connection makes things easier and faster. But one of the challenge I think I have so far, I've actually watched videos. I used to use this man video on YouTube. That's the Alex. I don't know. I think.
The
So
analyst, Alex, the analyst.
yes. So, and I find this video very, very helpful. And also, I have actually even I had one is a scholarship here whereby I'm learning also, but I still have problem in knowing the right question to use to answer when I get my data, or maybe even the right visualization. Because I believe that as a data analyst, you have to have like an insight, the right insight for your data. Or like when you get your data, you have to you have to understand your data for you to be able to put out the right and how they like, and for your customer, for people that you are visualizing for, even people that are not even technical, they are supposed to see your project and then understand it at a glance. So personally myself, I find it difficult to really, really understand data. Like if I am given the data now, I get confused. I don't know the first thing to do. I know, okay, cleaning my data is actually part of the first thing to do, but questioning the data is where I have the problem. So what would you like, how do I help myself in that case?
Yeah, that's a very good call out. And I think a lot of new people to data analytics probably have faced the same challenges, and I'm gonna say anxieties around how to approach data analytics and like what to look for. I can say personally myself, when I first got into data analytics, that was stressful for me too, because I wasn't strong. I was telling like Ernest, I didn't have a math degree, so that piece of it was maybe where I was weaker than building models and stuff like that. I think experience uh, is the first thing I would stress. Is you're gonna feel you might like, even failure is fine in your first. Like, I would just start analyzing things. There's projects out there that you can start working on, and go through one. And if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. If you go to the next one, keep building your kind of your portfolio or the projects that you work on. And over time, it's going to become easier. You're going to start seeing things to look for, and you can look at other people's portfolios and see the questions that they asked. Maybe I think you're on the right track of like in every instance you start cleaning your data too, or you'll start learning like the techniques of how to work through each part of the analyst or the project that you're trying to accomplish. So you're going to have specific techniques for trying to understand what's missing in the data, or is it clean enough for what you're doing. And then after that, you have to understand, you have to ask questions to your business. It's typically the business is trying to help you, or they have something in mind that they want you to analyze. So getting good at uncovering what that is and what the insights that they're trying to look for, that should help focus your analysis. So it's kind of like taking it from I think a lot of people might explain it like trying to locate a submarine in the ocean. You know, if you start searching for it, it's like, what are you searching for? But if you start asking the right questions to your business, they're going to they'll help you kind of push and not have to look through the entire ocean. Maybe it's going to be in a specific ocean or a specific part or by an island. They're going to help you narrow down what specifically you're trying to analyze. So that's a big piece of it too, is asking the right questions or uncovering what you actually need from your business, and then you can apply that and focus that towards your analysis that you're doing. And then once you have that, then you'll start understanding, okay, so like this is the analysis. Now these are the outcomes that I want to get out of this analysis. And what visuals do I use with those outcomes? What makes sense? You know, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Like, you don't want to overwhelm your business partner or your client that you're providing these insights to. You want to just get at the value that they're looking for, and you want them to be able to clearly see it as quickly as possible. I think one thing I see online and I see with new people is they want to, in a single report, more or less, try to report on everything that they can, but that can be overwhelming in a report, especially to a business that is looking at it. The leaders in a business always don't have the skill set to understand data as quickly as like yourself or a data analyst. So you want to make it very easy for them to digest that data with that visualization. So you don't want to like overwhelm them with that. So yeah. Any thoughts with that, Ernest? I mean, you can add your opinion in there too. So, oh, let's see. I think we lost Glory there.
Yeah, also about that, I've been sometimes finding struggling also to really understand the data, but with time I'm really getting better. If you look at the data, maybe the one you are doing today and the one you are doing tomorrow, most of them have the same format of it. Like you say, most of them are normal. It reaches a point where your mind has a template of what you really want to look into that data. So the first time you interact with any given data, it looks so you can't even see anything about it. But the more you move to the next one, the more you look at people's projects anywhere, you get to learn how to. So you look at how someone analyzed the given data, you are like, I don't think I'll ever get here. But the moment you look at how the person did, you start doing it yourself. You get one thing today, tomorrow you do it again. You move to getting two things. You will learn some things you had learned also, and like you said, the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
Mm.
That the two things that I would what you said, Ernest, kind of made me think of is like learning in frameworks or because a lot of frameworks, a lot of times, like once you start building this experience of like how to analyze data, it's really like you'll find a framework, and that framework can be applied to different situations and even different businesses, because how you organize your data, or how maybe you're looking for, like, for variance, that can be, you can look for variance with a lot of different contexts. So I would try to look for different frameworks that you can use within and apply towards different concepts or contexts. Here, I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you guys a good website that might help answer this a little bit. 1 second while I get the screen up. Okay, so this is DAX patterns, I think. It's not necessary. You don't have to understand Power BI or DAX for this. What I'm hoping to pinpoint is it has a lot of different patterns that you can do across different data sets. So it's like week over week patterns or custom like date functions. But they also have how to do cumulative totals. Like these patterns can be applied to a lot of different analysis and even languages. So just kind of calling attention to learning frameworks and how you can apply those to your analysis. The more frameworks that you get, like basket analysis, that's a specific type of analysis, or parent-child hierarchies, or events in progress. That learning those, and then you build a project with that, and you do a framework, and that typically you can take that framework and then apply it to different projects. So the more experience that you have, and the more that you're working on that, you can start using those different frameworks within different projects. What I would try to take away from that is try to understand those frameworks earlier on, and recognize those as pieces that you can use within different projects, is kind of like the takeaway from that. And maybe I'm even researching it. If I was starting my career over again, I would probably start looking for frameworks and trying to compound and build upon those frameworks quicker, so that I would recognize that these frameworks can be used in a lot of different situations. So I'm gonna stop presenting now. Good question, Gloria. Any thoughts on that?
So like there is one line of code that I usually use, the one that generates a data profile report. Whenever you run that one alone on a given data, it gives you a real view of how your data looks. It gives how each variable in your data looks like, and it has been so helpful to really know my data even before opening. You don't even have to open the data to go through. Maybe the data is too large, but the data profiling reports just give you an overview of how your data looks like. And for my small projects I've been doing, it has been of a great help to really understand what exactly is happening on my data before even I begin the project.
Yeah. Do you run that profile? Is that something you do through Python then, Ernest, or is that through like Power Query?
Yeah, it's a Python code. It's from a library. Let me look for it. Let me, like this one. Like the one I've put it on the charts, it gives me the report on I was doing this project on accident severity dataset. So when I run the code, it gives me a whole report on the dataset.
Yeah. And
from there, you can now know the number of columns, the missing values, without doing those individual codes of running. It's summing the null values. At least the whole code gives you an HTML code that an HTML that really you can open on your browser and see how your data looks like.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Ernest.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Gideon, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be here.
Cool. Yeah, so I think I was telling everybody else, like, the idea of this is really informal. My original plan was this, to have kind of a time that people could come together and work on their individual projects and then just ask questions. What we're doing now, we're more or less just having an informal conversation about tech. Uh, so if you have any questions or if you want to talk about a specific topic, just let us know and we can talk about it if you want to. So
Okay, all right, okay. It's just that actually I'm still a beginner, so I decided to join because I know it's going to be fun and I'll have to meet a lot of people and get to learn also. Yes, but currently what I'm learning data science using Python because actually what was my main end goal was to get into machine learning and AI. But sometimes trying to learn something on your own could be very difficult. And from research, all the research I usually make usually points to me that machine learning and AI is like a more senior role. So, and it's better for me to start from a low level place. And I got to discover that data science or data analysis rather is like the base. So once I'm able to get a handle of data analysis, work on some projects, maybe gain some experience, it will be easier for me to migrate into machine learning and AI. So that's what I'm currently working on right now.
sure. Do you have any do you have any math background or anything like that? Or just kind of you're starting from the very basics of both data analytics and the different concepts that apply to that?
Okay. I do have some math background, but it's not that. It's engineering, so
Mhm.
at least for the course I was taking is a course from 365 data science. At least where I am right now, the module I am, they have been put through a mathematical session where they are teaching about how the matrices work, vectors, scalars, and how it applies in programming. And I could
Yeah,
say I would say because of my at least the math background I have, it wasn't a that very hard for me to grasp. But although I know this is just all beginner levels, so but at least so good so far. It's okay.
cool. Thanks for sharing. Hi there. Thanks for joining. Anybody else have any other topics that they want to discuss, or Gideon, for yourself? You talked about learning the basics of oh, looks like he just dropped off. Let's see. Okay. How about Glory? Do you have anything else that you want to discuss, or even um let's see, Hajma, do you have any you just joined the group, but just seeing if you have any questions or any topic that you'd like to discuss this morning?
Benjamin, so
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Glory.
Okay, today is my first time joining, and I can't even really recall how I got to. I think I saw the. I think it should be on Twitter that I saw the coding stuff, and I just added it to my calendar, and I got a reminder to join the today's what's it called. So my question now is, how often does it hold? Is it every Saturday? And also you said something about you want people to build projects like and while we probably work together. I don't know, I would really love that. I feel like it's going to help individual to grow more, like maybe just once in a while, just the way you are doing it now, 9 to 11. If people can, maybe if you can share your screen, present, and then see what people are doing, and then maybe if anybody can help alongside. I don't know if that make any sense, but I just want to ask that how often does he hold? Is it every Saturday, so that I'll at least put it in mind and know to.
Yeah, good question. So today's session is kind of unique. This is the first time we did more of just like an informal vibe coding, like let's just talk about what anybody wants to talk about. Typically, we do training sessions where we have a very specific topic, and we treat it as a series where we'll not necessarily every Saturday, but like every other Saturday, or sometimes it's every like third Saturday or something like that, where we'll go through a series of a tech topic with a specific data set or training that everybody can work through at the same time, so that we would have we'd have a trainer. So we have an individual that typically will walk us through the tech topic, and then the people in the meeting can follow along, and we'll record it as well. You actually probably can find some of our older recordings or our last recordings on our Twitter group or our X group. So we do that, but it's not necessarily every Saturday, just because of time constraints and things like that. But we try to do it once or twice a month, I would say, is we try to hit it. I think we actually just did finish up our series on Power BI. So we're looking for our next topic or series to get into. And I think it's going to be SQL. I think that we'll be going through next. So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, Benjamin, to now let me call it a real life question that is attached a little to data is, it's not really just about learning. So sometimes it becomes hard when you are learning something and we have bills to pay and it's not giving it yet. So is there a way we can really learn and earn? There is a Chinese website I did had while in campus. It was called Startup. It was more of learn and earn. So they all usually give out projects. You do them, you get like $1, $2, and that amount of money in our economy, not a little money. It can feed you for supper and breakfast. So, but coming now to been learning data since I completed my studies about around 1 year, going 2 years, and it's really becoming hard to even land on freelancing or well-wishers who really wants you to learn and reward you for something you are learning. So is there a way we can really have a chance of giving out the little knowledge we have and earn something from it to supplement the effort we are giving?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience within like the learning and earning kind of realm. What I think I would try to do is, so I think that like the challenge is finding a job, right?
Yes.
What I would focus on is getting like if I ask the question like how often are you sending out resumes to like remote companies, or how often are you looking for those freelancing opportunities? I think that's where the effort has to be put in those areas to try to find those jobs. And a lot of times those markets are saturated, so it's like you got to get probably a lot of your resume out or look for those freelancing opportunities. I feel like a lot of times what I hear people, especially if they're kind of like fresh out of their universities or their training, they feel like they're probably inadequate, or they don't necessarily have the skill sets or to do a lot of those maybe freelancing opportunities. But I would say just reach out, try to do anything that you can. Um, Even if you might not have the full skill set, like getting those opportunities and at least trying to do that stuff.
Yes.
That's what I would try to, that's where I would be putting my effort into, is trying to get my resume out as fast as possible. And probably even focusing on uh, what is a good resume, trying to put it together. That's a big thing. And like I said, what we were talking about earlier too, Ernest, is like networking, trying to get involved in like these types of meetups, so you can meet people, or even on X, and just reaching out to people and trying to build that network, so that opens potential opportunities for you in different areas. You get a larger network, you're going to have more opportunities, and it's just putting the time and the effort and growing those networks. But unfortunately myself, I don't know a lot about the earning and learning, or like those specific types of things, but something I could definitely spend a little time on to see if there are opportunities out there to help with that. And I can post those on our X group, or even connect with you directly to Ernest if I find any of those. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. Hey Gideon, welcome
Sorry.
back.
Concerning what? Sorry, I want to. I don't know. Is ask a question concerning what NX said about the job search. To be fair, it's actually no. It's not easy over here, especially I don't know. It's not really giving us that large opportunity to do a lot. At times you're going to want to do, you're applying for a job, and you see data entry, and the requirements they want from you is actually a lot. They might tell you should have, you're applying for data entry, they're telling you to apply to have SQL skills, Python, like all the skills that um an expert have. But that's actually not my own issue. My own question of everything I want to say now, because I'm trying to also learn those skills so that at least I would also have an edge. My question now is, if you don't probably have an opportunity whereby people can probably hand job, what about an internship? Because I feel like I don't mind like at least volunteering to do something so that at least I get better. And if I put myself out there that I intend for this particular person, I can also give someone an edge. Because if you're just coming out there like a new person, they might not want to like acknowledge you in that you have like I believe that that's why we are here, to network and have recommendation here and there. So if we probably there's an opportunity for an internship, even if it's not paid, I don't know, to just have that leverage, and if it's a recommendation from anything and anybody, I don't know if that works or if it's going to work. Thank you.
Yeah. So it sounds like what you're saying, Glory, is like, is there any opportunities for like paid or even unpaid internships, just to learn the basis of data analytics? Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sure. One
It's even
thing
hard to
that
get. It's even hard to get unpaid jobs.
yeah, for sure. So like one thing that could help is getting comfortable with, so like for example, so like we have we have this tech meetup. If you were ever, if you wanted to actually run one of the trainings and teach other people like what you're learning, that can be an opportunity to help you learn how to convey, different data points, or how to walk through a training. And you can use that as an opportunity to kind of treat it as maybe a project that you're working on for a business, and the audience in the tech groups kind of they're the business, you're doing an analytical project, or you're teaching them something. So there's definitely like opportunities like that within this group. If you wanted to put yourself in a position that might be a little uncomfortable because you're teaching other people something, you're going to put yourself in a position that you have to learn it very well yourself so you can teach it. We can definitely do things like that within this group if you're interested. And I think that would give you examples of or opportunities to be able to, public speaking, how to convey your story. So let me know if you're interested in that. We can certainly do things like that in this group. I don't know if that's
Okay, it's actually very great, but I have a question. I don't know. I
yeah.
hope I'm not asking too much question.
Oh
Can
no,
you hear
you
me?
can ask as many questions as you want. That's the
Okay.
purpose of this for sure. So
Thank you. I actually love the idea of what you just said now, like by teaching people. Obviously, it's going to make you like more bold, and you would also want to learn ahead. So it's good. What you teach people, definitely you know that, and that's why you're teaching it. So it's going to make you better. But I think my question now is it going to be based on, are we going to be giving the topic ahead of what, like you said you want to, the series of next week or maybe the next month is going to be on SQL. And personally myself, I actually, the way my learning has been, that's not really been a straight learning, because I am doing like self-learning, and I got um a scholarship in between. So I started with Excel, and during December period, that was late last year, I jumped into SQL, and I didn't even finish it to some extent before I went back to Excel, because I realized that I'm not perfect in Excel very, very well. And I also stumbled in another project that I'm actually like part of the moderator. So, and the like the admin of the group wants us to learn his skills. So she invited people to come and teach us. And the person started with Python. So he didn't even teach us Excel, he didn't teach SQL, he didn't teach Power BI. I started with Python, and I have to attend it. I said I was going to just learn Excel first, but because of the way the opportunities are coming, I have to like, okay, let me see if I can still fit in. So my question now is, if I want to like start the series and start teaching people, will I be given an heads up of what to teach, or is it just that I'm just going to come and then just choose any? I'll just you just I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to drive
yeah,
at.
I would say it's up to you. Like you could, if you would like to pick a topic and teach on it, I'm open for you teaching of what you feel comfortable with. If you would want me to pick a topic, I can certainly do that too. I think if I was in your shoes, I would feel more comfortable picking a topic myself, because that's what I uh, am most comfortable with, and if especially if you haven't taught before and things like that, it helps you it's a good starting point to teach something that you already know. But if you're more seasoned, I would say like jumping into a topic that you don't know and having to learn it yourself and teach on it, that's a good opportunity too, because in the real world, you're going to be thrown curveballs on a job, and you're going to have to learn new skill sets right away to apply them to that project or what you're trying to solve. So that's a skill set in itself. But I would say, like, Glory, if you did want to teach and you felt comfortable teaching something you already know, that's totally fine, if in my opinion. So
Okay, thank you. But if I want to go to, probably if I want to follow your own follow your own curriculum, and you is it that if you give me a topic to teach on, are you going to give me the materials to probably use to work on, or will I be the one to sort out the materials and how to understand it myself?
sure. Um, Either or, like, so it's not, from what I've gathered so far, it sounds like you're comfortable with Excel, and that's what you've focused on so far. I think the people that are within our community on X, they do Excel would be a great topic for them. So, and that's something we haven't covered yet. So you could certainly teach on Excel if you're if you're wanting to do that, we could do maybe like a 2-part series or a 3-part series on Excel and just kind of work through the basics to more complex things. So if you're interested in that, just let me know and we can maybe take that offline and we can, I would assume that you're probably within the X group. That's where I promoted this. So we could certainly talk about this on X too, if you're interested in that, and we could get that kind of.
Yeah, I'm interested, but the X, like I said, I know I joined from X group, but I can't really remember the name of the group or how I
Yeah,
joined here.
the data
So
lounge. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Here, let me. Are you on X? I can try to. I can message you right now, and 1 second while I do that. I'm trying to. There we go. Let's see. What's your like Twitter handle, if you don't mind, and then I'll DM you directly.
Mayores. Should I spell it?
Yeah, or you could put it in the chat if you don't mind the people in here seeing it as well, and then I can message you directly.
No problem. I will do that now.
Okay. And then once I get it, I'll just drop it in a message, and then you can see my handle, and then we can have a conversation and get things worked out with that. So.
So I sent it already.
Okay, I'll take it right now, and then.
Hello, Benjamin.
Hey.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. 1 second. I'm just gonna send this really quick to Glory. Okay, I just sent it, Glory, a DM on X. So if you could confirm that you got it for me, and then okay, I think you're responding back right away.
Yeah.
Okay. After later this week or whatnot or weekend, we can discuss further the teaching and stuff like that. So sorry, Gideon, for interrupting you, but you can go ahead.
Okay. So, first off, I guess during the time I went off or before I came down, I guess maybe there was a proposal of classes or something. I would also love to be a part of it, but like the thing there is like me now. Okay, yeah. Let me even before I went off, you were asking me if I had a something like a map or a part or something I'm following on my learning process, right? Yeah, so I don't really have any. Like I said, I've just been trying to learn or dabble in between. And the reason why I think I've even been able to come this far was because I'm not really that new to programming, because I've actually learned JavaScript, HTML, CSS like some years back, but due to some challenges, I stopped. So we're coming back now. I didn't want to go back into web development and the rest because I feel like, okay, almost everybody is running there. So that's why I said, okay, I needed to do something different. And machine learning AI is something that's always been on my mind. But for instance, like on the group, I see most times it's like this data analytics and stuff. People is mostly Excel. People use for it. And me really learning it, I'm not really interested in Excel. I'm more interested in using Python because that's something I'm familiar with. Like writing code is something I've become familiar with rather than using an Excel sheet or using an app to get stuff out, because I don't know, maybe it's because that was how I got introduced into the tech world. So doing programming or writing lines of code feels more natural to me. So Now, since I'm already there learning data analytics, would I still need to now still also learn Excel, um, like in depth, how to do the same thing I'm doing with? Because to me, if I'm able to do the same thing I'm going to be doing with Excel, I don't see points in learning Excel. But I see everybody, like it's like everybody's posting. Anybody post is more about Excel. You even see few Python people. That was even the main challenge I had when I said I want to join machine learning, and even had to now start learning data analytics first. Because yes, they say Python is it has a lot of resources and the rest, but I don't see it. So much information, but yet people don't really. For Python, there are specific things people use Python for. Okay, maybe you see people who use Python, they are web development and the rest. So basically my question is, so do I still need to learn Excel?
Yeah, that's a great question. For data analytics, it kind of depends uh, on where the companies that you're applying to, do they use Excel? That's kind of like the question, so like if you're looking for a job, and the scope of the companies that you're applying for, if you see a lot of like Excel on their what they're asking for skill sets, and yeah, I would learn Excel's like, from like a perspective of what to learn and how to learn it, Excel's a lot easier than Python. So like in my opinion, you'd be able to pick up Excel pretty quickly if you needed to, if you got a job. And Excel was one of the skill sets, but not like the only skill set. Excel, like, um, I still work with Excel. I know like Excel's a very like fundamental tool. It's not like the main tool that I use within my job. It is something that allows you to quickly do some like very raw analysis, or analytics on pieces of data. So you don't have to like make up a huge model, and like you just want to look at something, you want to be able to quickly sort it and stuff like that. That's where Excel can kind of come in. I feel like, though, depending on your region or where you're located, companies might use Excel more. And if you're looking to get into that data analytical realm, you might want to learn it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of, yeah, it's kind of where, again, I think it comes down to the market where you're applying for. And if Excel is a wide tool used there, that you kind of, I would learn it at least a little bit, at least to get the fundamentals with it. So.
Okay. Yeah, over here, because I'm in Nigeria, so mostly it's Excel. That's why I was saying mostly it's Excel. So it's just that, like, I won't lie, at this point where I am, I'm like, you know, when you get into something with the mind of, okay, let's just go like this. But to me, like, Excel, I didn't get into Excel. I want to improve on. Although one thing, sometimes I'm like, okay, from the research I made, data analysis is my main goal. That's not my main aim. At least I know, if I want to become an AI ML engineer, um, I don't think they really use Excel. Like I said, I'm just on this learning part because I'm not able to see any resources or groups or anything where I could learn ML AI direct. And the few resources I do stumble upon on AI ML, they are too advanced that I don't even understand what they are saying or where to start from. So that's why I'm like, okay, following this process. So that's why. But to me, like, it's what is common here, though. It's what's common over here. Excel. Many people use Excel rather than that, because sometimes I'm like, I do feel like, or should I have just gone back and stick with my web development instead of coming over to this side? But I just feel, sometimes, like what is being said, when you are trying to learn something on your own, it's usually very, very, very difficult because there are so many information. At times there are little too in there. There's too little information on for you to follow up. And like what Glory said, also like over here to getting meetups or volunteering organizations or something, volunteering opportunities or even internships where you can actually put your skills to work. Or because one thing, even when I was learning web development, what helped was when I got to work, because then it was a physical location, so there were people around and we were given sometimes projects to work on, or sometimes we apply for, because there's like a company, so even when they have projects, they can take us up since we are students under there. It helped a lot. But yeah, most of the time you hardly see voluntary opportunities where you can just come, no matter okay, they know you're a beginner and you just want to learn and improve on yourself. It's kind of difficult. And for me personally now, because I also do a 9 to 5 job, at least to cover my bills while learning. So I can't really push this one aside. I can't push my 9 to 5 aside to get. So me now is, for me, it's especially even difficult to get any internship or volunteering opportunities, in the sense that even the few ones I do see are full time that require you to leave whatever you're doing and be there full time. But for now, I'm looking for something remote, or at least to build a skill level to this part where okay, I know now I can switch careers. But for now, I'm still at the basics. So yeah, so I'm really interested. I'm interested in the teaching that you were talking about. I don't know. I would love to be a part of it, because, like you said, is something that teaching is something that helps you um improve on whatever you're learning, and also be able to put yourself out there and able to connect with people. So I'm actually do interested about it, although I've not taught before. I've not taught whatever, so I don't even know how to go about it, but I'm interested.
Yeah. I think there's definitely opportunity if you do want to put yourself out there and teach a topic or a series, like I was saying to Glory is I would just pick what you feel comfortable with, and we can certainly work together and we can kind of get up a series set up within our group if you want to do that. It could be, yeah. So you want to get to it sounds like your goal is machine learning or AI is kind of your goal. Right now you're trying to learn the basics, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
which could be Excel, Power BI, like SQL, or kind of like the basics, and those can kind of play into your machine learning stuff. Have you, sorry, you might have said this at the beginning, Gideon, but have you started down the path of any of the basic stuff, or are you trying to figure out what that roadmap is right now still?
Yes, I'm still trying to figure out what the roadmap is.
Yeah. Yeah. And this might be for the group too, but you might want to, like, I don't know, you might want to just take some time to actually evaluate the job market and see what companies are looking for, especially from like a remote standpoint or a freelancing standpoint. I would have to say like the three biggest, uh let me think about that. I will say the four biggest tools right now that are going to allow you to get a remote job would be Power BI, SQL, and Python even, and then Excel. I would say like Excel on a resume wouldn't necessarily uh, get you a job, but like I think remote jobs, they're gonna just think everybody that is applying already has Excel skills. So I think the three ones plus Excel, so it'd be Python, Power BI, and SQL. Power BI and SQL go very well together. Python is so robust and dynamic, and you can do a lot with Python. You can even use it in Power BI. So learning the different aspects of Python, um, maybe not from a machine learning perspective, but maybe how to collect data and transform data with Python to get it prepped for tools like Power BI or a visualization tool, even Excel. Those would be the tools that I would be focusing on your learning, that you could start like using that as resume builders or ways to get those remote jobs then.
Oh,
Is kind of that'd be my roadmap. How I would probably try to do like I was gonna say 70% Power BI and SQL. Wait, let's see. I would do Power BI and SQL would be the top ones. Python would be right below that, and then Excel would be the lowest priority.
okay.
I think there are a lot of companies looking for Power BI remotely that you potentially could, if you learn Power BI, and that would give you some leverage within freelancing and stuff like that. Because I know I've heard from others that just companies are looking for Power BI. Python's like, in what I've heard too is Python's kind of, there's a lot of people that know Python already. Like, so from a perspective of having Python on a resume, that there's a huge group of people that already have Python on a resume and that are applying for jobs. Power BI is still more unique, but companies are moving towards Power BI more and more. So
All right. All right.
cool. But from kind of circling back to the training piece of it, if you're on X, you can send me a direct message too, and then we could kind of discuss having you do some of the training if you want that opportunity, and to be able to kind of talk to a group and teach on a skill set. We can definitely set something up on that. So
Okay. All right. All right. Let me send you a message now.
okay. What
Okay.
so let me see if I got it. Yep, I just got it, Gideon. So I'm just gonna pin it so I don't lose it in my messages, and then we can have a follow-up conversation in a few days. So what I was gonna add though is so I do, for my job responsibilities, I do some machine learning myself and AI and stuff like that for forecasting and whatnot. What really allows me to be really create a good machine learning program. So if you think about like the entire process, it's not just machine learning. It's like you have to build a system to essentially do the machine learning for you, and then automate it. So you have a lot of different parts to that system if you think about it. So you have data collection, you have data transformation, you have to run that data through your machine learning algorithm to get the desired outcome that you're looking for. And then you have to get that desired outcome to your business partner or the audience that needs to use that desired outcome. And you can kind of think of it as a system then, right? So that system, you need to learn data collection, data transformation. You need to be able to schedule that system. You need to be able to move data from point A. Well, you need to move data throughout that entire system. So like that skill set to be able to move the data, to collect it, transform it, and get it into your machine learning algorithm, and then output it to a visual, like learning that end-to-end system is like ideal. And my skill set before I got into machine learning was I'm a database analyst, which I do ETL, so extract data, transform it, and load it into database. So I already had the skill set to move data from point A to point B and transform it really easily and schedule it. So then I took my skill set there and then essentially learned machine learning. So then I could leverage my automated processes and pass it through a machine learning algorithm and then output it to Power BI. And then I essentially, that skill set I think is very valuable because I can do an end-to-end machine learning process, system, product, and I don't need a data engineer. I don't need a data analyst. I don't need a developer. So like if you can go to a business and be like, hey, I can build this end-to-end machine learning program for you, and you don't even have to have a data engineer for this. I'll save you tons of money. You have to essentially hire one person to do 3 jobs. They would love that. So thinking about your learning in the aspect of, it's not just machine learning, it's like how it's like a process of think about it as like, oh, I need to be able to collect data. So like, how do I get that skill set? Now I need to move data from point A to point B. So how do I get that skill set? How do I schedule this system? How do I make this system? What tools do I need to make this system? How do I get that skill set? That's like how it start processing like your learning, like what you need to learn and stuff like that. So
All right.
I would say like with technology and like chat GPT and all that stuff that's available to us now,
Yeah.
I feel like where the job market's going to actually start moving towards are people that can actually do end-to-end solutions rather than a specific concept, I think, because things are becoming easier for people to do because they can learn with ChatGPT and use AI tools to actually assist them with all that process.
Yeah.
So that's
Because
one thing you might want to think about too. So
yeah, I'm already currently already really I would say for if I were to grade myself, I would say when it comes to using AI, ChatGPT, Copilot and the rest, I would say I'm pretty good at getting some answers from them, because at least I know some of my friends and sometimes even work colleague, they do meet me to get some things done from them. And I also did take a course on that from ALX, one of all these their courses. But what I think I'm pretty basic on how to get what I want from AI. And honestly, it's what helped me this far on my journey, because there are some things I didn't need to start over researching. Um, Even in my learning process, it has also helped me sometimes doing learning, doing practice, getting how to overcome some errors. I can clearly remember a day when I was because when I first got started into the data science, the data field entirely. I remember someone gave me a book on Python. This Python crash course for beginner. So I used that book to learn Python. So doing one of the projects when we were working on Matplotlib, there was one of the project I was working on, like following it. So I decided like the exercises. I did it and there was an error. Like I didn't know what to do. The error was showing me something like the data cannot be read. So I didn't know, from looking at the code, everything was okay, was all right. And simply just me able to ask, I asked copilots that, okay, I was able to structure the question in a way. Although it didn't tell me exactly that, okay, this is where the issue was, because that day, I remember I was not on my PC. So I just had to type the question for ChatGPT instead of copying the code for it to just analyze and point out the errors. So it explains some things for me. So going through its explanation, I realized that the issue with the code was indentation. That's okay. There was, when working with CSV files, it's very important that whatever you're working, it stays in that code block. And that was where I went wrong. So at least, like you said, being able to use ChatGPT and AI tools now, it's something that definitely will put you on edge over those who don't.
yeah, I would say for sure. Like I lean into using them myself, and because they're here, they're not going away. Um,
Uh,
I hear, I don't know, what I don't like, what I see is people like look down at. I feel like some people that are very highly skilled look down at people that use ChatGPT and like AI to help them or assist them or supplement what they're doing. And I'm like, I mean, that's I don't like that because it's like that's going to be our world. You know, like we're here, it's here. I would try to leverage it as much as you can to supplement your learning, supplement your coding, some like because that should speed up your skill process. And the quicker you can skill, the quicker then you can compound those skills, and you'll start realizing like, oh, what I learned in Python or what I learned in Power BI, that same framework actually works over here too, but with a different tool. You know, like a lot of the same stuff work in different tools, and it will allow you to learn faster too once you start kind of getting that experience. So
Yes, yes, that's just the truth. Because, for instance, if you had ever learned JavaScript or any other language, you will find out that almost all languages are kind of similar. Like there was a friend I met on X. He's also into, I think, but he was learning X square. So I think after just in 2 weeks after I gave me the book and everything, I told him I'm done and everything. He was even surprised that like this fast. I told him yeah, because I already have basic knowledge on JavaScript and I did learn pure JavaScript then took my time to learn it. So now learning Python was a bit faster for me. And now the same thing goes with using AI. If you are not able to use AI is something okay. Just imagine the days when you have to just for a minor error in your code or in whatever you're doing, you will need to go on Google, go to search forums, scrolling, asking questions. The like that time now you can easily ask ChatGPT and it will give you a straight answer, even if it's not a straight answer, at least something that will help you solve that issue you had at hand. But before in the past, you have to go to Google, scroll through almost all the links, trying to get the solution to your problem, go on forums, asking questions, Quora, I think there's one for programming, I've forgotten, to ask questions and the rest. But now ChatGPT makes those things easier.
yeah, just think before Google, like what people did in like the 90s and stuff, how hard
Yeah.
that had to be. I was gonna this conversation, I'm gonna share my screen really quick and show another learning website I use. This one's really, I think it's was it school? No, was it W3? There we go. Oh, you may have
W3.
used this already. Um,
Yeah. This was my first. I was introduced to this when I was learning JavaScript. Like I do come here.
yeah, if like Glory and Ernest, if you are looking to skill up, this is like I like this website because you can actually do it on your phone too. So like I could learn SQL and it's going to bring me through tons of different SQL exercises. Um, and you can write, again, you can do this all on your phone. I don't need a computer to actually do this stuff. This my like 3 years ago, I used this website to start down Python and machine learning. So this is actually where I got the basis of machine learning, and then from here I started asking more questions, and I started going to like Medium articles and all that stuff. But this was really good to learn machine learning on here as well. I just sit up when like my family was sleeping. I'd just start, write it on my phone and start learning it. But this is W3 Schools. I feel like this is a really good website to start out, and it's free. So
Yeah, it's a really good resources. Very very good resources. I won't lie. I would recommend that Gloria and Ernest actually check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have been there several times.
Okay, so it sounds like it's it's known. Um, Gideon, I think it was you. Well, no, this might have been you, Ernest, talking about earn and learn. Something just
Yes.
um
Yeah.
um I just remembered something. Someone did reach out to me uh on X maybe like a month ago, and they're they're kind of brief about it, but they said they were developing an app that was geared towards the learning process, but they actually used the term, now that I remember, like earn and learn. So I'm gonna look through my Twitter account or my X account and see if I can find that individual again, um,
Okay.
and see if they have any more insights. I think if I remember correctly, they were building something and it wasn't done yet. But since I was the admin of our like a data lounge group, I think they were kind of reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, there's going to be this like new app here shortly. So if I find anything on that, I'll try to pass that along to you."
Okay. I'll
Um,
That,
appreciate.
I'll
yeah,
appreciate that.
yep,
Thanks.
for sure.
Mm,
Any other any any other topics that anyone wants to discuss?
okay. Not really. I know this was like meant to be a vibe coding session where we're all coding, but unfortunately, like I said, I'm still a beginner. I would have loved but I do love this concept of at least being able to meet up because it's not it's hardly where you get to connect with other people in the same field. So I love what we're doing.
Yeah,
And people didn't turn up as much like compared to the reactions on X. I was actually expecting to see a lot more people.
I was expecting more people too. I had more people um, accept and say they were coming to this. But like I don't know, I like these small groups, and I like the converse. I like a converse, like just kind of informal conversation discussing this. This is good because then you get everybody's perspective, and you can kind of um, learn from everybody. Because like one thing I've learned with data and tech is like there's more ways to do there's more ways than one to do something. Everybody can do something differently, and it doesn't mean there's a right or wrong way. So it's really good to share that, out with everybody. So
Okay, okay. So no problem. So let me just ask. You mentioned that um for instance, Power BI will be one of the skills that you advised want to get started on. So, but currently, since taking a class from W3 schools, okay, now I said W3 schools from the data lounge. Oh, so what am I saying? From 365 community. I would It's better I finish that right before moving on to the next, or is it okay if I am learning both of them in what they called, like learning both of them together? As I'm learning this, I'm also learning this. Would you advise that?
yeah, let me make sure so I think your question sounds like you want to make sure that like your current learning path is like correct, or like you're not putting too much on your plate, or you don't have enough on your plate, more or less. So it
Yeah.
sounded like it sounds like you're involved in a course right now, and you're currently learning something in that course. Like what are the topics that you're learning in that course, Gideon?
Okay. Let me list it out.
Sure.
So I've gone through, we have the introduction to data analytics, setting up an environment. Now they used Jupyter. So that's why I saw you made a repost where I was trying to find out how to work with Jupyter on Git because I
Mhm.
learned Git too long ago, so I don't know how that works with Jupyter. So at least that's why I was asking the question on X. So they talked about Python basics, fundamentals for coding in Python, mathematics for Python, NumPy basics, pandas basics, then working with text files. They have working with text data, must know Python tools, gathering data, APIs. APIs, then they put a note there, post requests are not needed for this course. Data cleaning and data preprocessing, Panda series, Panda data frames, NumPy fundamentals, NumPy data types, working with arrays, generating data with NumPy, statistics with NumPy, NumPy preprocessing,
Mm-hmm.
a loan data example with NumPy. I think there is a project or something. A loan data example with NumPy. The absenteeism exercise, solutions to the absenteeism exercise, data visualization, then conclusion. That's all.
Sure. How it sounded like you had some Python back. Did you have Python background before this course?
Yes, because before I got this course, I had already finished learning
You kind of cut out there, Gideon.
Python here and there using online YouTube and taking on their projects because there were projects at the end of the book before I came across this course.
Sure. Is it do you have is it not in person, but do you have someone like actually teaching you like over the computer, or is it just you're going through exercises that's faceless? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yes, yes, yes. The like right now the course, it's they have people, but most for the ones I've taken part is more of like animations that
Yeah.
whenever they have to be a character, they use animations. But when it comes to maybe, for instance, working with Jupyter or getting into coding and the rest or doing something, it's they just show you their screen and they're explaining, they're like giving you the breakdown of what is happening and you're seeing it.
Yeah. How long does the course run?
um okay, actually I don't know,
Yeah.
because okay, if I'm going to be honest, the course is meant to be on sale on Udemy, but
Yeah.
I got it for free, so I just got all the courses.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I
um
I was kind of asking that from like a trying to like let's say it's like a 6-month course, and that's where I was gonna try to like.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Yeah, because your main question was, uh, should you start
get that
like
from
doing Power
Udemy.
BI before,
Okay, I didn't get what you just said.
Oh, say that again, Gideon. I missed it.
Okay, yeah, I said you were saying something. I didn't get what you said.
Yeah. So the questions was asking was trying to help me understand, because your main question was, do I start Python? Should I switch to Power BI, or do I kind of finish my course and go that route, or like what's a good learning process, like roadmap with what you have going on and what there's potential to learn, which would be the Power BI. What if you're really far along your learning process already with Python or with your current course, I would keep down that probably just so you like finish it out, because there's always good concepts. But what I would recommend doing though is like evaluating your job market, that like your potential job market that's in front of you, and seeing what skill sets that they're looking for. That might help you understand, like, do you need to go after Power BI first, or not first, but like maybe you start trying to learn Power BI at the same time. It's not maybe like a full out learning of Power BI, but you start very simple with like DAX, the language is behind a lot of Power BI, or Power Query. things like that. Or you could maybe you stay the route of your current course, which is you look at the job market and you see, oh, around me Python is big, so maybe I focus on Python. So maybe that first step is looking at the job market. That's going to help you determine, do you stay in your course? I don't want to drive. I would say personally, if you've started that, I would probably try to finish it. I don't want to try to drive you away from that, but maybe you supplement it with other skill sets like Power BI or SQL. From a data analytics standpoint, Power BI is big, SQL is big, Python's pretty big, but Python you get into like your machine learning and AI. That's where you're going to be typically using your Python as the statistical, getting into deep analysis, but you're not necessarily visual. Like Power BI is going to be your visualization tool, or SQL is going to be your tool to move data into Power BI. Python's more your statistical analytical tool, you know. So
Okay. Okay. I guess what seeing what you said, um I would look around it and like then make the research. But although I already know that, yeah, my region was more like what you see more is the top skills they needed is Power BI and SQL, Excel. So like you said, what I would do is as I'm learning this aside, I'll also look for start learning that Power BI as you said also, and because one thing is how fast you can learn everything and get your hands dirty with them, so no need to actually stay long. I'll since I'm already learning this, I'll look for something else, or like where I could learn Power BI, maybe another course or something. I know I'll come across it. It's just sometimes it's just me. I get I stumble on things like that very very often. As far I put my mind to it, so I know now that my attention is also focused there, I'll come across a Power BI tutorial or a course soon, so that I can start learning that as well. Then for the SQL, I even have a book on it. A friend also gave me a book on that SQL to get started learning on it. It's just that I just kept it off for some time. Maybe I can also pick that and learn everything all at the same time.
yeah, if you're like SQL, if you're a logical person, like it's very structured, and in my opinion is pretty, it's not pretty easy to learn. It is challenging, but like it is structured, and there's not like the gist of like writing a query, like a statement. You if you're logical and you kind of just understand the basics, it's a very readable language, and you should be able to see like what it's doing. In my opinion, it's easier to read than like Python, because Python you can go and you can do a lot of different things in Python, so you have to have a very very wide understanding. SQL, your width of what you can do with it's a lot narrower, so you have to stay within the bounds, so it's easier to read. um so just some thoughts on that. But
That's cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ben. I really appreciate. Um, for the courses or the series. Although I know you said we'll talk about it later on, but okay. For instance, now for someone like me who's still learning, how would that be? Because sometimes I do believe that for you to teach someone, you have to get to a certain level of proficiency in it. But me, I'm still, like you can see, I'm still trying to find my way around. So how can I be able to teach people when even me, I'm still struggling to find a way?
yeah, well, so like I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, like like getting to a certain level of proficiency. Like let's say if you're running a course that people are paying for, I agree with that. But like for the data lounge, you can treat your teaching like you can be honest with and transparent with the class or with the group that's going to be meeting and be like, hey, this is what I'm learning. I want to share it with you. I'm not an expert in here. So like I'm open to even learning from the audience that you're teaching to, because they can help. Like if you treat it as like the data lounge or our group as a resource, anybody can share their thoughts on what you're training. And I would actually encourage that so we grow as a group. So you don't have to be proficient. You can just be honest with where you're at and like what you want to teach them. And then you can be honest of like what you know and then try to understand your gaps and even explain that in your teaching when you're teaching them. Like, hey, this is what I know, but here's what I think I don't know and where I need to improve. And you can tell the class that while you're teaching them. And maybe some people will speak up and be like, oh yeah, I struggled with that myself. This is what I did, and they'll help you, even though that you're guiding the course and you're teaching them. You can also use that as a learning opportunity yourself too. I think from what we're doing in the data lounge, you don't necessarily have to know the topic like end to end. It's just like you can treat this as an opportunity to you're teaching something and you're learning the skill set to teach them. You don't have to be perfect for that. And that's probably like, that's what's good about this opportunity is like, you don't have to be perfect about it. If this was a paid like learning course, then you have to be perfect about it. But I think something like this is actually more real world, where like in real world, you don't know everything and you're not always going to know everything. And then being able to clearly state that and be comfortable with that, like that's in my opinion, being comfortable not knowing everything, but still like being comfortable like diving into something and teaching something. That's more of a real world example than knowing everything. No one knows everything in a work setting. So that this will be I think closer to a real world setting. So
Okay. No problem. Thanks a lot.
yep. Any other questions?
From my end, no.
Okay. I'm thinking about closing the meeting down a little early. I know I had it from like 3 to 7. But it's actually, so like the meeting started 3 a.m. for me, so I'm actually a little tired right now to be honest. So I might
No.
would that be all right if we close down a little early?
It's fine. It's fine. So you can rest. You can rest. We've actually learned. You've actually done a lot today for us.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there any big questions that you want to talk through before we close it down though?
Is it okay if we can reach you anytime we have a problem that we feel you can help?
Yeah, for sure. So I do have a 9 to 5 job myself too. So like if it's like I do get busy, but I do try to respond and let people know like, hey, I'm busy, like, but this is when I'll be able to get back to your questions and things like that. But you can certainly message me and we can talk through things, and I'm definitely open to that. And maybe like I said, our group does have more formal training like what we're discussing here, but maybe I'll have more of these informal, just like, hey, let's meet and discuss stuff, because I like these are good. Like I feel like you learn in as much in these as you do in like a formal training setting where you're going through a skill. You kind of need both of these. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question though. It just came to my mind because something I decided that since I'm going to be learning something different from what I initially learned when I was learning web development, because when I was learning web development, a mistake I made was documenting my learning or have like something. Then I didn't learn GitHub. That was so by the time I wanted to like that's even one of the things that discouraged me from going back again because I lost everything. So I had to learn GitHub now that, okay, as I'm learning, I'm documenting things, I'm in learning, even if you just practice projects. Now, like the question I asked on X, I've not yet gotten an answer on how to work with Jupyter with how to use Jupyter with GitHub. Now, for instance, for someone who is like me now, who is learning data analysis, how do I build a portfolio or something where or a place? Because I know GitHub is like where developers build their portfolio or just put their projects that they work. For someone like us now, me who is learning data analysis, how can I build my portfolio in that light also?
Yeah, that's a good topic. To be to be honest, I'm not familiar with GitHub all that myself. I use it a little bit at work, but not a lot. And I've been within my company for 17 years, so I haven't had to build a portfolio. There's another gentleman that is more familiar with like portfolio building, and he actually had suggestions. We actually had a similar conversation in one of our earlier learnings. I think we may have a recording on it, but they're like 2 hours long, so it'd be challenging to pinpoint where that conversation started. So I'm not able to like answer that question that well right now, Gideon, but I can certainly research to where people would be building their portfolios. I feel like I came across someone that was actually putting their Power BI work on GitHub the other day, but how they do that and how that's organized, I'm not exactly sure myself. So I can certainly ask around to see if there's anybody that does that and try to connect you to if I come across someone. Or I can look for different learning opportunities or just like articles or whatnot on that as well that can help with that too. So that's what I can maybe a takeaway that I can have for another conversation.
Okay, okay, all right, no problem. All right, no problem. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't answer that question, but I just don't have a lot of experience in that realm.
No problem. It's fine.
Cool. How
All right,
about
so that's all.
okay, cool. Any other questions before we close down? Okay.
I don't have any. I don't have any.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna let everybody go. But it was great talking to you. I really enjoyed just this informal conversation. This was really good. So thank you.
Thanks, Benjamin.
Thank
Yep.
you too.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Have a good. All right. Right. Let's
Bye.
stop.